Hello, you're tuned into Coast to Coast Real Estate with Jaqueline Steib. This podcast will take us all across the globe as we learn the ins and outs of real estate from the industry's top advisors. Here we are now with Jaqueline Steib.
Thank you for tuning in to Coast Real Estate. I am your host, Jaqueline Steib.
Broadcasting simultaneously from Manhattan Beach, California and Victoria, Canada. Yes, people, today we are going north to talk to a very special person, Christine Ryan with Sotheby International Realty. She's got so many great things to share with us that I'm not going to keep on talking. Hi, Christine. How are you?
Let the shenanigans begin. Oh, Jacqueline, I am beside myself with excitement to be your guest. Hello, Jacqueline. How are you today?
I am doing great. Christine, tell our listeners a little bit about you.
A little bit about me. Okay, I'll try and keep it as brief as I can, but I've got the Irish, as you can tell, gift of the gab. But I suppose it wasn't, Jacqueline, let's have an honest discussion. It wasn't the most auspicious of beginnings for me. I started off in an orphanage in the 70s. I was adopted at 2.5 by a very blue-collar, hard-working Dublin family. My dad was a bricklayer, and he spent quite a bit of our childhood working in the States. So he was repointing some buildings in Queens, and he would spend several months a year doing that. As so many folks did in the early 80s, because our country was it was quite an oppressive place to live until relatively recently. So in any event, he'd come back with these tales of how amazing it is, and he always wanted to move, and my mother wouldn't leave. So I think he instilled that love of overseas in me, and I suppose the idea that there's something else out there. It's not just your working class. It's not just the fixed mindset in Ireland. It's not just the poverty. It's not just the going to bed hungry at night. It's not just the slog and the struggle. That there is something out there, and there's a whole world out there of opportunity. So I was a dreamer from the get-go, but it took me many years to. I was a late bloomer as well. It took me many years to make that leap. And when I did, how it happened, I met a Canadian gentleman in a pub in Dublin. Of course, let's not, debunk any of those kind of stereotypes. I met a gentleman called Shane Ryan, and he was sitting there in a little wing-back chair, and he was nursing a little whiskey or something on the rocks. And I thought, what an unusual guy. He had just this wonderful old soul energy. So in any event, I was waiting for a friend, and we got talking. His parents had emigrated from Ireland to BC in Canada many years ago. So he was born and raised there, but he's the Irish heritage. He had a startup company in Dublin. In any event, we got married a year later. I'd say about 5 years later, we moved, Jacqueline, to Victoria, where he had lived most of his life. He hadn't been here for many, many years, so it was a big change for him, and it was a big change obviously for me. We came for a better life. We took our 3-month-old baby, and we had 4 suitcases, a 3-month-old baby and one-way ticket and our savings, and we had really good jobs in Ireland. My husband was working he was working on the stock exchange at that stage, and as the head of tech. And I was a paralegal specialising in property law, wills and estates. And I had a business on the side as well, which was rather successful. But the taxation system is quite, we won't get too into that, but it's a very, very restrictive. There's very little chance for opportunity because the taxation system was so difficult for us that we couldn't afford to buy a house, even though we were, really, really good earners, etc., etc. And in any event, we came for a better life. It's a difficult place to live. It's a beautiful place to visit. Book your tickets when the pandemic is all over. Visit Ireland. You'll love the people. It's just the most gorgeous place, the most fabulous people, of course, I would say that. But I'm a little biased.
Hey, I have some really good Irish friends, so I could definitely attest to that.
But it's, it's just the most gorgeous place, the most wonderful folks. But it's a difficult place. So off we came, and I was really excited. God bless me, I was naive, but I was really.
Sometimes that's the best way to make a change. Jump in all the way.
It is. Because boy, oh boy, did I get a bit of a shock for the first couple of years. I had a new baby. I didn't know anybody. I had a job to come to, the whole thing, But in any event, I was determined to make it work. It's the Irish tenacity. There's no way I was going back with my tail between my legs. So it's come hell or high water, Jaqueline, it was going to work. And it did.
Hey, I totally understand the cultural shock. I experienced that when I moved from Mexico to California. So those first years are definitely hard because your heart continues to pull you back to your safe zone. Essentially, that's what it wants.
Yeah.
Take me back to safety instead of whatever this new dream that you have and this crazy ideas of where your life is going to take you. So I totally get that.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. The safety of it's not the best situation to be in, but it's a safe situation because it's something that you know. So stepping out of something that you know may not be the best for you or for your family or whatnot, and stepping into something new is it takes some guts to do that. So it's worth it. Just do it.
Definitely worth it. And like they say, growth happens outside of our comfort zone. Sometimes that means outside of your own country, but it definitely happens. Tell me, what is the one thing you love the most about your city?
Oh, the one thing I love. Oh gosh, it's so hard to choose one thing. So where I live just outside of Victoria, just a few minutes drive along the coastline. Beautiful mountains. The scenery is outstanding. And I know that this is an audio, but I'd like to share with you, Jaqueline, if I may. I want to just show you what I'm looking at here.
I can see your background.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
You gotta be kidding me. For those of you just listening, she's staring at this ridiculous lake with the mountains and just looks beautiful. Too bad we're still banned from visiting Canada and most of Europe, or we could definitely go.
So the scenery is out of this world. It's an extraordinary safe place, and safety is a big thing for me. I can walk down the street, unlike where I'm from, I can walk down the street and I don't need to look over my shoulder. It's a very, very safe place. It's very, very clean. It's remarkably free of graffiti, litter. It's like living in a film set. It's like living on a film set. That's what it reminds me of time and time again. It's really magical. It's been 7 years now. It's coming on 7 years since I made the move. And I'm still in awe of the natural beauty. The construction is second to none. We have the strictest building code in North America, in BC. That's my understanding. So the building, and real estate here, it's what we do best. And Victoria and Vancouver Island, we have the most stable market in Canada. The most stable market. And investing in real estate on this, it's an island in the Pacific, Jaqueline. It's got the most beautiful weather year round. Rarely snows, a little bit of rain, but we're typically sheltered by the Olympic Mountains. It's got the best weather in all of Canada, the best outdoors lifestyle, the scenery, it's spotlessly clean. Our building code is extremely high quality construction, and the people are just so wonderful. And there's people from all walks of life here, and so many folks who come in pursuit of something else. And the gratitude that you find in the people here, because they're so proud and so grateful to live in beautiful British Columbia, and to live in the best part of British Columbia is a true gift. And it's been one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And I'll never leave. I'll die here. I love it.
Gotta come and visit you. The way you speak about it is just so so enriching. It just elevates my feeling of gratitude right now as I'm listening to you speak.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be here with you today because I've been stalking you for a while, as I said to you. I saw you and I was standing in front of you. You were chatting with somebody and I was standing there with my mouth agape. And I'm sure you're thinking, who is this crazy lady? She's just standing there staring at me. I was like, that is her. It's her. Because I listened to your podcast, the dishes,
For those of you listening, I met Christine during Ninja installation, a training that took place in Redondo Beach, California. And she approached me and she's like, oh my God, I listened to your podcast. And I was like, oh, wow, actually somebody listens to this.
Oh, I was so starstruck.
So I was excited. I came home and I told my husband, oh my God, I met this lady from Canada who listens to my podcast and was so excited to meet me. I felt like a celebrity.
Oh, you are. You are.
You make my day that day, by the way.
Oh, wonderful. You made it too. I'm glad you didn't get more than me.
Tell me, what's your favorite childhood memory?
There's not a lot of those, Jaqueline, I have to say. Not a lot of those. But, okay, one that springs to mind, right? I was obsessed with this movie when I was little. I think I was a little bit of an old soul as well. When everybody else was into, New Kids on the Block and whatnot, Fred Astaire was my guy. And I loved the classic movies. I loved the Technicolor. I loved the songs. I used to dance. I used to tap dance. So I did that to a professional level. So I was into anything that was the beautiful costumes, the dancing, the singing, the visuals, the personalities and the dialogue. I loved movies. So I was obsessed with Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I mean, what a weird child. I was about 8 years of age. My parents were like, what have we adopted? This child is demented. So I'd go around singing the songs from the movie. And I wrote a letter one day, and I was quite prolific with the writing. I had my own little stationery, and I'd write letters, and I wrote a letter to the studios, to MGM Studios, with 75 pleases, please, etc. Please send me the script for Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. It is my favorite. It is my favorite movie. So, I don't know, a lot of time passed. And this letter fell into the hands of the music supervisor at MGM Studios. And his name is Richard Kaufman. And I'm actually friends on social media with his daughter now, which is, we keep in touch. It's quite funny. And he sent me a signed photo of one of the actors. He went to the actor's house, showed him my letter. Ruth Tamblyn, Amber Tamblyn is his daughter. She's a quite accomplished actress. And he sent me that. He sent me the score. He couldn't find the script. He sent me the score and a beautiful handwritten letter. And we corresponded back and forth. And I was around the same age as his daughter then. And I think that really solidified the notion that there was more out there for me, Jaqueline, because I had the opportunity to correspond with somebody. I had the opportunity to make that happen for myself, to just write that letter, put it out there to the universe.
You put the idea, this is what I want. It transformed into something different. I think it was a little bit better than just getting the script. Now sounds like you have a relationship with someone who is closely related to that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been, it's definitely my favorite memory. It was a very, very magical time in my childhood.
When you first decided that you were switching careers, who was the first person who believed in you?
Oh, that's easy. So the gentleman, his name is Tom Stratton. He's a former managing broker at Sotheby's International Realty Canada in the Victoria office. I met him. I went down to make an introduction, and I'd had a professional career for many years. I started working straight out of school, and I worked in a bank and whatnot. So it had the professional experience, but I didn't have the real estate experience. We don't have realtors in Ireland. We have a different model. So the paralegals typically draft the contracts and whatnot. So I did have the professional experience, but I had no